go, here we go.
All right, welcome to Out of the Blue from the Block M Podcast Network, part of the Fan First Sports Network. At least one previously uncontacted tribe has reached out about getting this podcast distributed in their jungle village. I am Jared Stormer of the Block M Podcast Network. With me, as always, is Andy Bailey, my hetero life mate of the same place and time. Andy Bailey, a direct descendant of the man who invented the trebuchet. He's been called the Joe Frazier of tape grinding and the Joe Pantoliano of lovemaking. How the hell are you, brother?
That's high praise. I'm about to utter a sentence that I 100% know has never been uttered before. I had a tremendous weekend. I caught up on some reading. I listened to the new Freddie Gibbs Alchemist album, highly recommend, and watched the end of the Tour de France. So, pretty much the happiest I've ever been.
That's quite an overlap of hobbies you have there, my friend. I love it. Love this for you. We are truly in your era. I am down here in a sleepy little village in Mexico in the jungle, across the pond, as they say. So apologize for the lighting in the background as I travel. You're just going to have to deal with it. The video thing's a recent addition, but be back stateside. Plenty of time before the season, so really looking forward to getting into that. Had a great time chopping it up with you last week, talking The Fugitive. Great job by our producer, Tony, getting that video out there. If you haven't checked that out, that's on YouTube. The podcast is up anywhere you get your podcast. Had some great feedback from that, but brother, I would say this is the official turn the page. Let's get into this damn thing. The season is upon us. It's the Bigten Over-Unders podcast, second annual. Started doing this last year. You and I have been hyped for this one. We put in the work for this one.
Man, it was, and we used to say put in the work jokingly. Not really, but I mean, putting in the work. But like this one, 18 teams going deep to understand these, because as all of our listeners understand, you and I are very competitive, especially with each other. And it's like last year I edged you at over unders. I went 9-9 and you went 8-10. So literally just by the hair right there. Forget whatever team put me over the top. Shout out to them. But yeah, man, I'm pumped for this one. All the research we went into it. I wasn't up at 2 a.m. last night reading about Indiana run defense for nothing.
Yeah, it was Rutgers run defense for me late last night, and like UCLA, the last one, we're just like, God, UCLA is in this conference? All right, I'll do one more. Won't someone think of the podcasters, please? The amount of work that it takes with 18 teams and transfers in and out. It's a lot. We've got several docs, spreadsheets open. We've done the work. I feel fairly prepared for this. I feel ready for this conversation. I feel ready for the season. Excited, man. Maybe we put a little friendly wager on this one, beer or two at our next meeting. I mean, why not? What are we doing here?
I think, a couple beers is always on the table for us.
Couple of beers. Speaking of which, don't mind if I do. Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this podcast, let's go ahead and touch the banner. We're going to get through this rather quickly. Big Ten Media Days commenced. There were some good snippets from that. I don't really want to get into all of it now. There was nothing in there that was absolutely groundbreaking. Anything that you heard from Sharon or the boys that you wanted to touch on from Big Ten Media Days?
Yeah, we'll keep it quick. I love the edge Derek Moore has. Max Bredesen is one day hopefully a congressman. Ernest Hausman is hopefully one day the leader of the entire planet. And Sharon Moore's updates on Bryce Underwood were encouraging. Rod Moore, kind of middling. And Mikey Keene, discouraging.
Discouraging. Yeah, there was some stuff about no more flag planting. I can't imagine being that soft of a program that you need Congress to step in and move. Tell your guys to not plant the flag. It's our house. Whatever. Fine. I don't care. Let's just keep it pushing there. But yeah, the Bryce Underwood stuff, very encouraging. Excited by what I'm hearing about that. By all accounts, just handling himself, carrying himself like an adult. So speaking of an adult, he is not yet an adult. His birthday, Tuesday, August 19th, happens to be the day Savion Hyder is announced as his commitment date. Reading the tea leaves here? I mean, is there a little fire there? There's certainly some smoke.
Boy, I hope so. You and us, Toady, everyone, we've been locked in for Savion Hyder for a few months now. Like, this is the big one, folks. Like, so clear out your schedule, get ready to watch some grainy, terrible Instagram video, and hope he picks Michigan over Tennessee.
I will tell you what, the amount of support that Underwood's going to have with this receiving core that we brought in, if he goes from Jordan Marshall to Savion Hyder in his backfield, like, that man is going to have run support, receiving options, the offensive line. Like, I can see I see the vision for the next great offensive line. He's going to have every tool in his tool belt if we land Savion Hyder. So this is a big one, as they say. Moving along, Michigan decides that they will be opening up 2026 in Germany? Frankfurt even, not Munich, not Berlin, Frankfurt, one of the lesser cities, not even Hamburg. But no, the Frankfurt, I believe it's Deutsche Bank Park. Normally they host like Eintracht Frankfurt of Bundesliga. I know very little about what any of that means, but regardless, we may have to go to this. I do love me some German beer and meat. That doesn't sound like a bad time.
I like your optimism because I'm going a little bit of a rant here because I know a lot of people are upset about the scheduling, but this is not just a good thing, but a great thing. And not just because we could potentially go to Germany and drink beer. Number one, Michigan would beat Western Michigan in Ann Arbor, in Kalamazoo, in Las Vegas, in Aldi's parking lot, and most assuredly in Germany. This is not going to affect the team's performance. It represents a tremendous experience for the players and a great way to grow the game. Two, this game being moved to week 0 means one less week without football next season and 2 weeks to prepare for Oklahoma in week 2 after real game experience. 3, Michigan still has 7 home games next season. Moving the Western Michigan game is not like they are moving Ohio State game to a Toronto Tim Hortons. There are still plenty of opportunities to see Michigan play meaningful games in the Big House. And lastly, this is undoubtedly a way for the athletic department to rake in some money and finally shut Ward Manuel up about asking fans for money. Ran over.
I like it. That was a very solid rant. Is it necessary to move a Western Michigan game to Germany? Probably not, being as how you could probably string up 2 cups in a string and have a conversation between Western Michigan and Ann Arbor. So geographically, it does not. But for every reason that you just listed, I'm for it. I don't want it to be an every year thing, but this is the first time they've ever done it. And if it's very rare, like we're going to do this, I understand some people be like, oh, we're losing a home game. That's a fair criticism. I'm into it. Like, I think it'll be great for the kids. As you mentioned, the competitive advantage next year against Oklahoma, where like next year we really should be going for like national championship level aspirations next year. We'll get into what the aspiration should be this year, but I think they have big goals for next year. So any competitive advantage you can get, I'm here for it. And I've been to Germany. I had an absolute hell of a time. Best beer I've ever had. You can just get meat on the streets for like $5, just sandwiched in between a loaf of bread. Say less.
It's my kind of place, man. So I'm super excited for this. And again, still 7 home games next year. I think it's going to be fun. It's awesome. It's going to be awesome to watch Michigan dominate week 0 too. Because like we're looking forward to Michigan this year being week 1, but we have that whole like appetizer slate that doesn't really suffice. But next year we'll be on that appetizer and it'll be nice.
Yeah, actually not a bad week 0 slate this year. I'm already starting to get excited about it.
I mean, that's for us, so.
That's for us. That's for sickos only. Trey Burke, Michigan legend, to have his jersey retired at Michigan, the number 3 Wooden Award winner, one of the all-time best Michigan players that I've had the pleasure of watching, one of my favorites that I've watched. So this is great. I love that they take care of their own, and keeping Trey Burke up in the rafters is a great call.
Yeah, I'm anti colleges retiring numbers, but like if you're going
in general, I am.
Like
but
if you're going to pick one, Trey Burke more than deserves it.
Yep, I'm with you there. Vikings standout safety Josh Metellus, might have heard of him, signing a 3-year extension worth up to $42 million, $25 million guaranteed. Adam Schefter broke that. Huge cog there for the Vikings. Very important in what they do. Captain, man, just an absolute leader out there on the field, off the field, and what a great developmental story coming from Michigan, where he was always very good. We liked him, but I don't think either of us saw this kind of NFL career that he's been able to make for himself. It's incredible.
It's fascinating to go back and watch some of those Michigan teams and watch how Don Brown misused certain pieces. Like, they all couldn't do it. They all weren't interchangeable, and they're asking way too much of Metellus to play his role that he was tasked with. So to finally see him like be in a situation and flourish, like you could see a little bit of the clips of it at Michigan, but like now they are just accentuating it, and he's with a tremendous organization. So couldn't be happier.
Yeah, and we like that JJ has a friend. A little bit of a side note here. Been hearing some stuff that JJ, some growing pains. I think people need to maybe like pump the brakes on JJ being awesome immediately. He hasn't played in like 2 years. So let's give JJ a moment to get into it in Minnesota.
Hate any camp clip or exaggeration taken from this time. I hate positive or negative. Like, it's practice. Like, that's the whole point of it, is to learn and get better. Like, God, like if I can't stand it, man. One of my least favorite things about football is this time in the NFL. So yeah, it's gonna be okay. He's gonna throw some interceptions. I guarantee that's gonna happen. But he's gonna throw some touchdowns too. Like, let's give it time.
Yep, absolutely. And if it's not this year, I think the following year you can really expect a big JJ breakout. It is coming. It was just an unfortunate timing with the injury. He'll get there. He'll get there, though. We have faith in our boy. Also, Michigan added transfer punter Hunter Robertson from Clarion on Sunday to back up with Hudson Hollenbeck or compete with him. Not exactly sure what the move is there. As a sophomore last year, averaged over 43 yards per punt, 15 punts of 50 or more yards. We like this. That's a solid leg to add to the room.
Yeah, this is good because, I mean, former Missouri punter Luke Bauer announced he was transferring to Michigan in the spring, but he never made it to Ann Arbor. We may need to get Pablo Torre on this.
Get lost?
Because,
I think it's time, brother. I think it's time. The work has been done. The tape has been grinded into a pulp. We are as ready as we're ever going to be to talk Big Ten over-unders. The over-unders have officially been set by Las Vegas. We go through each and every team, and we're basically just going to say, like, what we think about this team. We'll keep it brief for each one. Some maybe we'll talk a little bit more than others. And we'll make our predictions. We got beers on the line. Last year you got me by basically one game ended up deciding it. But one team decided it. Not sure who that would be. I'll have to go back and look at it. But I have high hopes this year. I've got some teams I'm high on, some teams that I'm really selling on. I think there's quite a bit of a middle class this year.
Yes.
There's quite and an upper middle class as well. There's very clear tiers here to me. My other big takeaway is this the most talented quarterback situation across one conference, our conference that we cover, since we've been doing this?
I definitely think there's an argument for that because, like, you factor in the Bryce Underwoods, Raiola in year 2, what Ohio State has, Oregon has. Mileage may vary on Drew Aller, but
Luke
everybody
Altmaier,
else.
Fernando Mendoza,
Nico Iamaleava, like Jane Maivia. I think you're right, man. Especially with expansion factored into it. I think you're right.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That was a takeaway. A lot of transfers in and out made the exercise a lot more difficult than in years past, trying to figure out. I'm just like, all right, this guy was at Sam Houston. All right, so what did he do against Tulane? He had a sack and a half. What does that mean for the Maryland rush defense? It's a lot. So sometimes you just got to go with your projections and go with your gut. But anything else we need to kind of touch on before we get into this?
No, we're going to go alphabetically through every team, all 18 of them in the Big Ten. So, all right, man, let's do it. Illinois. First team on the board on the count of 3. Say over or under. Ready?
Yep. One, two, three.
Under.
Over. Oh, right out of the gate. Let's go. Talk me through it. Why under?
So I have Illinois at 8-4 this season. I have losses at Duke, Ohio State, at Washington, and the surprising one probably on the slate at Wisconsin.
Very
surprising. In the season. So
yeah.
My rationale for having that loss late to Wisconsin is the last 2 years, Wisconsin, October, November, played 2023 Ohio State within one score until the final 6 minutes. And last season, a week after losing 42-10 to Iowa, they came back home and played Oregon 16-13. They always get up for one of those late in the year. And I think this year, being an Illinois team not as talented as those two, I think that's a team that Wisconsin could get the trip up. And that's kind of how I got that. Also with the Duke one, Brett Bielema struggles in non-conference road games. And he's 0-2 actually since coming back to Illinois. He lost to Virginia in 2021 and to Kansas in 2023. So those are the two there. And then I also had at Washington for obvious reasons with the travel and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got Ohio State and Washington. Struggled with Duke. That one is where I was like, I could go either way on this one. Illinois brings back a lot of talent, including starting quarterback Luke Altmaier. They lose some guys on defense, but the secondary should be pretty much intact. What made me nervous, and I had to kind of like steady my hand, this offensive line wasn't as good as you would think last year. They were 93rd in sacks allowed. They gave up 32 sacks of Altmaier. They were pretty good running the ball, about 2,000 yards, 150 per game, pretty solid. I think they like what they've got on the offensive line, and basically you're just hoping that these guys from last year improve, which I'm going to go ahead and assume under a Brett Bielema coach team that they will. I mean, this is the rib god we're talking about here. I mean, this guy knows his way around some braised lamb shanks, and I'm hoping that, that being said, he's he's got that improvement in him here right now. Like he plays like every non-speaking police officer role in The Fugitive. That was another thought that I had about Brett Bielema. It's like he knows how to cure reindeer meat, and I'm hoping he can get this offensive line where they need to be, because I like Altmaier. I like their ability to run the ball. I like the secondary, but this was a tricky one. I got him at 9-3 losses at Indiana, Ohio State, at Washington. I'm with you there, but I've got him beating Wisconsin. So, all right out of the gate. I like it. A little dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois brings back the most starters in the Big Ten with 16, but like I just feel like last year they benefited from the schedule and they kind of snuck up on some people. I just don't think that's going to happen in year 2, you know?
No, I don't think so either, but I do think they're a well-coached team, and a lot of this, as we'll get into, is like there's some other teams I'm just really not buying. They avoid Michigan, they avoid Penn State, they avoid Oregon.
Yeah.
So you have to like that.
It's a good argument there. So, all right, Indiana?
All right. I prefer 3-2-1 to 1-2-3. Just a point of contention there, if you don't mind.
All right, I'm going to start at 15.
Begin. All right, Indiana. 3, 2, 1.
What?
Under.
Oh, let's go. Walk me through it.
I love it. We're finally disagreeing. I've got them at under. I think, look, there's a lot about Indiana that I like. They're my team that caught everyone by surprise last year that no one's overlooking this year. So pretty much the argument that you made. The Illinois game, I've got that one starred, bolded. I'm like, man, week 4, there's a lot of big games week 4. So Illinois, they get at home, so I gave them that win. At Iowa, difficult place to play right after Illinois. I got a loss there. Then a bye week. Then you got to go to Oregon. That's another loss. I've got them beating Michigan State, UCLA, at Maryland, and then traveling to Penn State to lose. So I'll be interested to see, like, that's 8-4. I'll be interested to see where you've got, I've got, where's my 4th loss here? Yeah. So I'd be interested to see where you've got that 3rd win.
Who was your 4th loss?
UCLA.
Oh, okay. Getting one right in the middle there.
I wanted one weird upset for them.
That's fair. I went Illinois, at Oregon, at Penn State, had them going 9-3 just over.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And I don't feel great about the UCLA one, but
no, I mean, honestly, dude, you're kind of betting on the Florida State drop-off like we saw last year with relying so much on the transfer portal. I mean, this is an offense that has to replace 7 of 11 starters, break in a new quarterback, and break in a new offensive coordinator as well. One of their co-OCs left. So a lot of question marks again, and it's like, can Curt Cignetti sustain this year to year? Because we saw what it can be like at Florida State last year.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. I do buy this team. I really like Fernando Mendoza. I really like him. I think that he's actually an upgrade at quarterback there, but I think it was just more like, can you do this year over year, basically building your team out through the transfer portal? Will that catch up with you now that people are going to be on the lookout for you? So it was more a big picture thing for me. And I don't feel great about the UCLA one. I really don't. I'm not going to lie to you.
And again, dude, both of our unders are by half a game.
It's close.
It's not like we're saying they're going to go like 3-9 or something.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, moving on to Iowa. No locks yet. We are going to have a couple locks in here, but don't have any of those yet. So, all right, 3, 2, 1, over.
Over.
There we go. Now we're in line, baby. Talk me through it.
Was this one of the easiest ones that we could have just with recent history? I mean, Iowa finished 8-5 last season and lost to Missouri 27-24 in the Music City Bowl. 3 of their 5 losses were by 3 points or less last season. Start there. And then you want to go historic. Iowa has won 8 or more games in 9 of the last 10 seasons, and the only season they didn't was 2020 when they were 6-2.
Dude, I wrote the Ulysses S. Grant, or maybe the mid-'80s John Deere tractor of coaches. My trust in Kirk Ferentz is marrow deep. Brian Ferentz is the John Tyler of coordinators, dead shortly after inauguration. Iowa's won 10 or more games in a season 11 times. 8 of them have been under Kirk Ferentz. Oh, and they finally have a quarterback. I think that's the biggest thing. Bringing in the transfer from FCS champion. I've got it right here.
South Dakota
you probably
State.
know it up.
Mark
Thank
Krzyzewski.
you. There you go. I was going to say you knew you had it at the fingertips there. This is the best quarterback they've had in a long time. This is a real quarterback. I trust Phil Parker in that defense. I've got a loss at Iowa State early on. I think that's tricky. I think Iowa State is a pretty good program this year, and I could see them losing early, but then getting their feet underneath them. I've got them beating Indiana. I've got them beating Penn State is my fun one. That's my big upset. I've got them beating Oregon. Nope, looking at it wrong. I've got them beating Oregon, losing to Penn State, but I was like, they can get one of those. They're both at home.
I hate that. I have them beating Oregon and losing to Penn State. And like I flip-flop too, because like at first I had Penn State.
I did too.
And I was like, no, I was like, actually looking at Oregon's schedule, I was like, I feel like that's a good spot. Like, they have Wisconsin, then they have a bye week. They're coming to Kinnick late in the year. I feel like that could just be a weird game for the Ducks. I have Iowa's losses coming to Indiana, to Penn State, at USC, at Nebraska for 4 losses.
Yep. The only change is I've got Iowa State and I've got them beating Nebraska to end the year. But we see it the same, 8-4. I think it's going to be a good Iowa program. Yeah, I like what they're bringing back on the offensive line too. Like they've got a good center, they've got a good guard.
Center, dude, he's a dog.
Exactly. Yeah. So I like what they've got there, and I trust Phil Parker. Even though they're losing quite a bit of talent on defense, they just find a way.
That's the thing. It's like if the offense were losing this much, I would be concerned. Although year 2 of Tim Lester, who looks like Bill Walsh compared to Brian Ferentz, I would still have a little bit more faith in him. But yeah, the defense is losing some stuff in the back end, but that's all Phil Parker does.
Yeah, and I was also, like, as I was doing this exercise, realizing that Caleb Johnson just might be him. Like, he was a stud last year. Like, had me start thinking, like, this guy's going to be good for Pittsburgh. Just, like, he is elite.
2 things I wanted to note. Iowa has only lost 2 home games in the last 2 seasons, and both are in bizarre fashion. And also, Iowa has not lost in Ames against Iowa State, obviously, since 2011. And that was a 3 overtime loss.
Yeah, no, it was a little risky to do this. You've got swapping Iowa State, but you've got them dropping at Nebraska.
Yep.
I could see it. Yeah, we'll get to Nebraska here shortly, but we see them about the same as far as overall record. All right, Maryland. I think this one should be pretty easy. I hope we're aligned here. 3, 2, 1, under.
Lock.
Yeah. Lock it in.
This is one of my locks. Like,
Talk to me.
Over-under is projected at 4.5. I have this team starting 3-0, beating Florida Atlantic, Northern Illinois, and Towson. I wanted to pick Florida Atlantic. I really did.
I looked into it. I looked into Northern Illinois too.
And FAU's bringing in Zach Kitley, Texas Tech's former OC, but I just don't think their defense could stop you and I playing quarterback, so I had to give the win to Maryland. I don't think they win another game after that, man. This schedule is unrelenting. It's brutal. It's at Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska, at UCLA, Indiana, at Rutgers, at Illinois, Michigan State at Ford Field. Like, I don't see him getting to 5 wins in any way.
We are finally perfectly aligned, exactly game for game. I've got them going 3-0, and never again will they touch winning. Some of the stuff I've been hearing about, like the culture stuff and what Loxley's doing regarding the like locker room stuff too, sounds like a man that's already lost the locker room. My lock is that this is the final season of Loxley. Go ahead and put that in. Yeah, I think this is going to be a disaster season. They've lost a lot of talent. They never really figured out how to move on and what this program is going to be after Tagovailoa. There's just not a lot to like here. And you mentioned the schedule, like at Wisconsin, Washington, Nebraska. Then you got to go all the way out to UCLA. Like even at Rutgers, at Illinois, back-to-back weeks. That seems like too tall of a mountain to climb. Like I just don't see it.
It's so funny, too, because we're talking about how hard Maryland's schedule is, and they still avoid Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon. Like, that's how in bad a shape they are as a program. I mean, they're only bringing back 4 total starters from last year. That's enough time on Maryland, man. Should we save Michigan for last, or should we do them next?
I'm down to save them for last. That's fun.
Let's save Michigan for last. That's going to be a little longer conversation, I think.
Yeah, let's go down the road to Little Brother, as they're affectionately known. They might not find it affectionate, but we do. Michigan State, the over-under set at 5.5 here. Very interested to see where you go with this one. So let's get it out there. 3, 2, 1, over. Okay, talk me through it.
I think this team's going to be improved, man.
Yeah.
We've seen it with Jonathan Smith before at Oregon State. This team returns both coordinators from last year, quarterback Aiden Childs and Nick Marsh, receiver, who is low-key really good. Some other pieces I like their tight end Jack Velling, left tackle, added a great Montana State right tackle to help bolster that. Defense is going to be pretty good again. I think it's actually going to take a step further, although they were number 108 in sacks last year. I think they'll see some improvement there. And it's a bet on Jonathan Smith is what it all boils down to. He builds programs. I'm not expecting greatness. I have him going 6-6, but with their over/under set at 5.5, that's an over.
Yeah, I've got him at 6-6 as well. It's like when you would go to a party in high school and you're like, this is a special night. We're not drinking Natty Light tonight. We're drinking Bud Light. It's like, it's a step up, almost imperceptible, but it is a step up. I think that's kind of where we're at with this team. I think Aiden Childs will have a pretty good year. You mentioned they were 116th in the country in sacks, way too many sacks, gave up 36 sacks, only 115 rushing yards per game and 11 rushing touchdowns. Got to improve on the ground. But I'm buying the defense. I think the schedule sets up well for them. So I've got them starting out 3-0 against Western Michigan, Boston College, Youngstown State. Lose when you travel to USC, lose at Nebraska, beat UCLA, go at Indiana, Michigan, back-to-back losses. Then I think they can get Minnesota, again back-to-back losses, Penn State, Iowa, and then beat Maryland.
Thing. I hate this.
There it is. Hey, look, we've got enough differences in there so far. We're good.
That's true. That is so funny, though. Game to game, we had everything just lined up perfectly. My favorite note on Michigan State is their punter, Ryan Eckley. Last year led the Big Ten and was third nationally, almost 48 yards of punt. And it may seem like nothing, but for a team that's fighting for bowl eligibility, being able to control field position like that's going to do a lot for this team.
Yeah, that is my favorite note, and it would make sense that that's your favorite note. That completely tracks. Oh, man. All right, let's do one more before we take a break. Let's talk Minnesota. They're over-under set at 6.5 wins here. Kind of struggled with this one. This is one of the ones that I went back and forth on. The UCLA one was another one that I was like, I just don't know what I'm buying here. I like PJ Fleck, but there's some things that we'll get into here that maybe I'm not liking with the direction of the program. So let's go 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go. So 3, 2, 1, under. All right, now we're in line again. We're synced back up. Tell me about it.
It's barely an under because their over/under is set at 6.5, and I just don't like all they're replacing, man. Like it relies a lot on running back Darius Taylor's health, and that hasn't been a safe bet. And also, this offensive line has to replace 3 starters while breaking in a new unproven quarterback, and then defensively, you have to build a lot on the defensive line. You're losing Ja Joyner, your best pass rusher. At the second level, you're losing Cody Lindenberg, who's an absolute stud. I know Coy Parrish is great in the back end, but Minnesota has to replace both starting corners and its starting nickel. Just too many question marks for me to feel confident giving the team an over next season.
I'm with you. I also have them at 6-6. Kind of striking here that they've been trending the wrong direction. Their pass success and pass rate going up, but their run success rate going down over the last 4 years. And like this, that feels like the exact opposite of what PJ Fleck wants. And they have to be able to run the ball. As you mentioned, you're going to be counting on Darius Taylor staying healthy. For my notes on them, I was like, this is the David Fincher of programs. Like, you've earned my trust, but what's going on right now? Like, what's happening in this current moment? Are you any good? What is this team?
It's such a tough team, man, because you go back to last season and every single loss is one score except for the Iowa game. I mean, they played Penn State within a point late in the year on November 23rd. And you remember how wacky that North Carolina game was where their kicker, Dragon, missed like 3 field goals in a 2-point loss. And it's like, I feel like they underperformed last year, and that was supposed to be the big year. So this is the natural regression before he builds it back up again.
I'm kind of with you there. I think it'll be a down year, and then maybe they get back there. If it comes this year, it's because redshirt freshman quarterback Drake Lindsey, who they think is talented, takes a big leap. Yeah, and like that, they are like relying on that, because if it's not that, or if Darius Taylor is fully healthy, like if he is completely healthy for the entire year, that's a big if. I could see it. I just think they're kind of going the way of the Badgers right now, like trying to lean too much on this pass offense, getting away from that what made him great. Outstanding rush defense last year. It's less potent this year. And your offensive line, which was okay last year with Ariante Urcera, you lose him. I don't see it getting better by losing him.
Yeah, and on the other side of the ball, they have to replace Corey Heatherman, their defensive coordinator, who had a good year in his first season.
Yeah.
I believe he went to Miami to be with Cristobal in
That is
Florida.
correct.
So,
yeah.
another question mark.
How do you got the games? I got them going 3-0 in the non-conference. Then I've got them losing Rutgers at Ohio State, beating Purdue. I've got them losing 3 back-to-back-to-back. Nebraska at Iowa, Michigan State. 4 at Oregon. And then I got them finishing out with 2 wins. Come on.
The exact same, dude. I really struggled with that middle stretch. I was like, okay, are they really going to drop like 5 of 6 in the middle? But like, I just couldn't feel confident giving them the Rutgers game or like at Iowa.
The Michigan State game is the swing game, and is that our current front runner for the mid bowl?
That might be the mid bowl this year.
Might be the mid bowl. Yeah, because I mean, it's going to be 2 teams fighting for 6 wins right around then, and like the loser might not get to 6 wins. But as it stands right now, we have them both getting to 6-6, Minnesota and Michigan. That's the mid bowl.
That's holding it down right now. Another candidate, we'll get to it later on as well, is that last game of the year, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Yeah, yep, that's certainly a candidate as well. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to keep on pushing through Big Ten over-unders. We will be back right after this. All right, we are back. We are Righteous Men. The Big Ten Over-Under podcast is very good, going pretty well. We had some dissimilarities out of the gate, but then after that, we're right back in line, unsurprisingly. When you cover the sport for as long as we have together, you're going to see things similarly. I'm thinking, though, that as we come back, this is where things are going to start to diverge. I hope so, at least. We'll see where we're at. Do you want to run back through where we were at with everything?
Yeah, bring us back to the beginning. So, Illinois, I went under, you went over.
8.5 is the over-under, if you want to give the over-unders too. Yep.
Yeah, I will. Indiana, 8.5, I went over, you went under. Iowa at 7.5, we both went over. Maryland at 4.5, we both went under. That was my lock. Also, you had a lock on the side with Loxley being his last season in Maryland. We skipped Michigan, saving them for last. Michigan State, we both had over, down to the exact game at 6-6. And same thing with Minnesota, we both had them under, and their over and under was 6.5.
Absolutely. So that brings us to Nebraska, over under set at 7.5, which Nebraska fans have to be feeling pretty good about. I mean, so Vegas is expecting this to be a pretty good team. I'm interested to see where you think here. So let's start it off, brother. 3, 2, 1, under.
Oh,
there we
yes.
go.
Good, dude.
Finally.
Come on.
All right.
Take the lead here.
Look, there's a lot to like, and I'm saying they're 7-5. It's close. Like, I'm not saying that this is going to be some terrible team here. Schedule's pretty tricky in there, and I could just see him getting tripped up. It's still a young quarterback. I think Holgerson's really going to improve this offense. I like when he came in.
Yeah.
The average yard per completion per attempt last year for the freshman quarterback went down, but passing success went up. So he simplified things for the young quarterback. I think it'll go up a step this year. But what made this team so good was their run defense. It is not going to be better. You don't lose Nash Hutmacher and get better. I think that their defense takes a step back. Offense could take a step up, and that's going to cause them to maybe drop one that we disagree with somewhere in there. I'll be interested to see which ones you have as wins, which ones you have as losses in there. Is this actually the best job you can have in America? Six wins is going to get celebrated again. It's like Zack Snyder making Justice League. You have enough people to support your mediocre campaign. They're just going to convince you that you're a giant. So yeah, I mean, this is an easy job for Matt Rule. I think 6-6, their fans will still be happy. I could see 8-4, but I got him at 7-5.
I have him at 8-4, and you hit on a lot of the points. Ty Robinson in the middle there. I think he was like big number 9 or whatever, the single digit one. Yeah, losing him along with Nash, that's not going to do things. I mean, not make you feel good. But as much as I went through the schedule, I wanted to go under, dude. I tried so hard to get this team under, but I was just the other teams on the schedule I just couldn't get behind. I was like, okay, middle of the schedule, I feel like they can navigate that. I feel like they're going to drop certain games, and it's honestly just a bet on Dylan Raiola. Where do you think Dylan Raiola is going to be this year? I think he's going to be just a little bit above average, hence just a little bit above their over.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'll be pretty good. Like you said, the middle of the schedule really softens up. They only allowed 8 rushing touchdowns last year. This was a really good rush defense last year. I think excellent rush defense. So I've got them going 3-0 out of the gate. Against the non-conference of Cincinnati at a neutral field. Interesting game. Akron,
Arrowhead,
Houston Christian.
in Kansas City Stadium.
That's interesting. Obviously, I've got them losing to Michigan and then going on a run. I got them beating Michigan State at Maryland, beating Minnesota, Northwestern, losing to USC, and then I think this is probably where we'll differ. I've got them traveling out to UCLA and losing at Penn State, losing to Iowa.
I have them beating Iowa at the end. That's the only difference.
Oh, okay. That's the difference there. Interesting. It is at home.
Oh, also a little giveaway there. You have the Michigan win in the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
No. I do not. I have a loss.
You have Michigan winning, I'm saying.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, giving away some of our picks there, but yeah, tricky game for Michigan. We'll talk about it when we get to our team.
Yeah, very tricky game there. Yeah, you and I see it very similar. It's just that last game. I'm taking them in Lincoln to beat Iowa. One weird stat with this team, their special teams are horrendous. They allowed 10 block kicks last year for one. And then they also finished 100th or worse in kick returns, punt returns, and they were 96th in punting. And that doesn't make me feel good about my pick.
No. I don't feel great about this one either. But at the end of the day, like I'm looking at the lines and I'm looking at like what made this team great last year was the rush defense. And it's so clearly that it's like quarterback play, passing success. They've got pretty good wide receivers there. Nothing like to really write home about. That's going to trend up, but I think rush defense trends down, and that makes it about the same for how they performed last year for me.
They added Dane Key from Kentucky, who's really good, and Hunter from Cal, who's also expected to be good as well. Offensive line's going to be better. I think that's where it's going to kind of like balance out a little bit. I think they've added some pieces there, but I do think the defense will be worse. Not to mention they're breaking in a new DC now as well, as John Butler was promoted up after Tony White went to Florida State.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, we see this one fairly similar. Some of these ones that we're getting into now were like really tricky for me, and it was coming down to just little things here or there. So, and that was one of them. It'll be a fairly good Nebraska team, and traveling to Nebraska early on, tricky for the Wolverines. We'll talk about that more when we get to them. Northwestern next up on the docket. 3.5 wins is the projection. Let's do it. 3, 2, 1, under.
Over. Lock.
Oh, locking in Northwestern at the over. Here we go. And now we differ. Tell me about it.
Northwestern won 4 games last year in their down year. They somehow finished 4-8 last year.
Oh, no, I've got them at 4. I've got them at 4. Excuse me. I've got them at 4-8 as well. Excuse me. Because I've got them at Tulane, Western Illinois, Louisiana Monroe, Purdue. 4 wins.
This guy killing the climax here.
I'm sorry.
I was like, yeah, dude, I'm locking this one in because, again, at Tulane, Western Illinois, Louisiana, Monroe, and Purdue. Right there, that's 4 wins. That's the over. And I just buy the head coach. David Braun was Big Ten Coach of the Year a few years ago. The offensive line's going to be better. They're going to have an identity running the football. They have an upgrade at quarterback with Preston Stone coming in from SMU. I think the defense is going to be able to piece it together, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if they found a way to pick up a 5th win somewhere against either Nebraska, USC, Minnesota, or even Illinois late in the year. Like, I just think they're going to be an improved team. I think they're well coached. They have continuity with their coordinators as well. So I'm buying Northwestern to at least get to 4 wins, man.
I mean, in the sense that that's buying a team to get to 4 wins. Definitely not a lock for me, especially since I had written under, but then I'm counting up my yellows, and that's 4. And, I mean, it's 3 coming out of conference and then just getting the lowly Purdue. So I'm in on that. Aside from that, there's not much else I have to say. For my notes on this one, I said, drink up, Northwestern. You're the weakest. I mean, Northwestern and Purdue battling it out for the weakest. I just don't think that either of these teams, Northwestern or Purdue, will be eligible for the Big Ten championship again in our lifetimes. Not only do you remove divisions, but you also bring in Oregon, USC, and Washington. Like, this is such a tough ask for them. So, like, if they went to the ACC or Big East, I kind of agree with you. Like, this is a fun, scrappy, up-and-coming team. But just this schedule is so tough for Northwestern. And hopefully when they get that new stadium, it can kind of up them. It's a program I've always had respect for. So I would like to see them at least be competent and be able to compete in the Big Ten. But this is tricky, man. Like, it's hard for me to find the 5th win. 6 wins seems – a bowl game seems way out of the question. Like, that would really be overachieving for them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we knew last year to be the down year, but hell, 2 years ago we thought they were going to be terrible, and they found their way into a bowl. So, like,
yeah,
They
It is possible. I like David Braun.
I do like him. Yeah, I mean, hell, dude, 2 years ago they were 8-5. like,
Yeah, I know.
like
Weird year, but
yeah, it was a very weird year. They found their way to 8 wins, but like I don't know. I buy the coaching staff. We'll see where it goes this year. I like their OC second year with Zach Lujan, the former FCS guy from South Dakota State. Runs a tricky offense, but I think their new quarterback's going to be able to run it better last year because their passing offense was on par with Michigan's. So just having that upgrade, I think, could lend itself to a couple wins, or at least just be in the mix in these games and see what happens.
yeah, I'd like to be different from you there, but I don't. I see the 4 wins just because Purdue's there, and though that's not
Also,
a difficult non-conference schedule.
It's funny you lumped Purdue in there, seeing I don't see how they're ever going to get back to a Big Ten championship. Purdue's been to a Big Ten championship game more recently than Ohio State.
Great transition. That's who's next in the alphabetical order. Ohio State, the over-under set at 10.5. I cannot wait for this conversation. In 3, 2, 1, under. Lock it in. My first lock. Locking it in, and I'm not just trolling our chief rival here. This is a tough schedule. Are they going to be hungry? This is a gauntlet for a team that just went through that long playoff run, not to mention all the talent that you're losing, the coaching staff that you're losing. Are you going to have that kind of hunger to get right up and go against Texas? And more importantly, you have a Michigan problem, and you're going up against a better Michigan team in their house with all of that baggage hanging on, and you still have Penn State on the schedule at Washington. I've got a big asterisk next to that. That is not a gimme. And then, like, the other part of it is you got to get to 11 wins to get over. I just don't see that happening. This feels like a 10-2 team. 9-3 is very possible, so I'm locking it in.
I love that. I had 9-3 originally. I changed it to 10-2 after some further evaluation, but very tricky schedule. Yeah, you mentioned at Washington, also at Illinois, at Wisconsin. Like, very tricky games. And like I mentioned at the top, I mean, Wisconsin has had some luck against these teams late in the year, weird games at Camp Randall. So that's another one to circle. Penn State as well. Like, a lot of people are probably going to pick Penn State over Ohio State, but you and I, until we see it from Franklin, not going to do it. I just think the biggest thing with Ohio State is the success tax is too high. Again, replacing both coordinators. I believe they're replacing 8 starters on defense and a handful on offense. I just think they're going to regress, but regress is being 10-2.
And in the playoff, probably. Yeah, exactly.
Still firmly in the playoff. Do you know the last season that Ohio State didn't win at least 10 games?
Was it under Tressel?
2011, the fickle year in the middle.
Oh, the fickle year. Yeah,
that's
of course.
Last
the
time
lost year. Yeah.
That's the last time they've lost more than 2 games in a single season.
Yeah, and I don't think like they'll go 9-3, but you mentioned it. At Washington, at Illinois, at Wisconsin. Not fun right there in the middle, like with bye weeks kind of sandwiched on either side there. So I've got the losses, Texas and Michigan.
Same. The exact same there. Honestly, like, it's only out of respect that for the program and what they've been able to become under Ryan Day that I didn't pick a loss at either Washington, Illinois, or Wisconsin. Only reason.
I think they'll find a way. Has anyone really talked about the, like, will this team be hungry thing, though? Because, like, that was something that I was really thinking about, and I was just like, particularly for Texas, maybe you get your brakes beat off of you against Texas, and, like, that wakes you up a little bit.
We know what that's like.
We know what it's like. I would be very surprised if this team comes out with their hair on fire after winning a natty and doing that kind of turnover. It was just something I wanted to note.
Also, have we talked enough about Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator?
We have, and I'm not in, brother. I cannot believe how much Ohio State fans are talking themselves into it. They're like, no, he wasn't good, as a coach, but he'll be good as a college coordinator. Based on what? What are you basing that on? There's no blueprint here.
That's one of the biggest reasons. Like, I hesitated a lot with the Penn State game, with Jim Knowles going to Penn State to be the DC there. He knows exactly how that offense works. I'm like, could that be a revenge game? Could that be what it takes for Franklin to get over the hump? But again, the Franklin tax is too high for me to get there in that regard. But I have a lot of questions under Patricia, man, especially with a lot of different pieces and a completely new defensive line, top to bottom.
If it were at Penn State, I think I'd go 9-3.
I think I would,
but
too.
The fact that it's at the Horseshoe, I was like, I can't quite get there. Don't trust Franklin. 10-2 feels right. That's my first lock. Go ahead and get it in there. And I mean, it's still a 10-2 playoff team lock, so not really talking shit. But Next up, another team with high expectations. Oregon set at 10.5. Both Ohio State and Oregon need to get to 11 wins to get there. So 3, 2, 1, under. Oh, I got near lock here. It's a near lock. It's not quite a lock. Tell me about it.
This is a tricky slate, man. Like just the first 5 games, like it's a very weird schedule. They have 5 games before a bye week. I just have a lot of questions with Oregon, man. We can get into the schedule and everything. I think it's a very tricky schedule, but I just have questions starting at the quarterback position. This is a team that lost a lot, none bigger than Dylan Gabriel. Now they're breaking in Dante Moore, who we haven't seen in 2 years since his brief time at UCLA as a true freshman. And the schedule is tough. Like, it's not as easy as it was last year. There's a lot of hard travel games in this one. And honestly, again, kind of out of respect for the program that Land Danning has built there, I didn't pick him anything less than 10-2.
Also have him at 10-2. Seems like we have the exact same losses at Penn State and Iowa there. I get the talent across the board, but you're asking me to buy into a worse quarterback that doesn't do the things that recent Oregon quarterbacks have done well. When they're successful, he's a high ceiling, low floor quarterback that's going to get a beating with this schedule. Like, he's not very big. They're going to lean on defense, but brother, we all do that in the Big Ten. That's the calling card here. So it's a Dante Moore thing for me. It's a worse quarterback situation for me. It's a tricky schedule thing for me. And it's 11 wins to get over. So again, it's kind of similar conversation to Ohio State. Like, I think this is a worse Oregon team than last year, and I feel very confident about that. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, you're replacing Gabriel. Honestly, you're only bringing back 5 starters. I think start right there. And a lot of it's like places you don't want to be losing talent, like both defensive tackles, both offensive tackles. I know they're bringing in offensive tackle from Nevada, Isaiah World, who is a stud. And they're bringing in Tulane running back Mekhi Hughes and some studs in the secondary. But it's just a lot of moving parts, man. And I just wonder, when you're trying to do this thing where you're building through the portal every single season, when does it catch up to you?
Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you there. The schedule: Montana State, Oklahoma State, at Northwestern, Oregon State. That's not exactly fun to open up. Like, we're gonna kind of know a lot about them after Montana State, Oklahoma State. Not sure how good Oklahoma State's gonna be, but Montana State's not like a cakewalk. So
15-1 last year in the FCS National Championship. Those aren't teams you want to open with.
No, you don't want to open with that. Is Dante Moore, who, like, you and I have just never really been a believer in. Michigan recruited him, and like then I was talking myself into it, but ever since I've been pretty out on that. You got to go to Rutgers, Wisconsin at home, at Iowa, which we both have as a loss, and then USC at Washington to end the year. You could easily drop one of those.
Yeah, and it's tricky. It's like the schedule is weird where they're one of there's only a couple teams that play 5 straight games to start the year, and they have to conclude that with at Penn State before the bye week. Like, that's that's a ridiculous schedule, man. You get to play in 2 of the toughest home environments or road environments in the Big Ten, in Penn State and Iowa. And then, like you mentioned, Washington at the end of the year, where Washington is riding a 20-game home winning streak. Like, it could be over by then with Ohio State coming to town, but that's not going to make that game any easier.
Certainly won't. Yep. So we see that one the same. We've both got them under. I almost went lock for that one. Didn't quite do it out of respect for what they've built there, but I was teasing it. I think 9-3 is very possible. I think 9-3 would be more likely than 11-1, in my opinion.
I think so too, especially with that start. And, like, again, Oklahoma State, not a fun game. Like, Mike Gundy had a horrible year last year, but he's a proven successful, great head coach. Like, that's a very tricky game.
Yeah, and it could be a shootout as, like, the defense still kind of figuring things out, and they're replacing some guys there. They got our guy Dylan Thieneman in there. Thieneman? I'm not sure how to say that, but he's a stud. All right, Penn State next up on the docket. 10.5 is once again the total, back to back of the kind of the upper echelon or perceived upper echelon of the Big Ten here. So let's do it, brother. 3, 2, 1, over.
Over.
Unfortunately, we're lined up again. Talk me through it.
I don't feel good about it, man. Just the schedule kind of opens up for them. They open the year with a cakewalk of Nevada, FIU, Villanova. They're going to run through that. Then it's broken up nice and in sizable chunks too. Oregon coming to them at UCLA could be tricky. Northwestern at Iowa, another one that could be tricky but should be manageable. bye week before going at Ohio State, which kind of made me think about it a little bit, that with the Jim Knowles thing, but ultimately chose Ohio State to be their lone loss and then finish out their schedule undefeated in the final 4 games.
There's just too much similarity here, but I see it the exact same way. One loss at Ohio State. If I were going to find another one, Oregon, sure, but it's at home, and that's a long way to travel. We've talked about it extensively on this podcast. Traveling 3 time zones, very difficult. The success rate drops dramatically, and I mean, do it, dude. I just went to Hawaii, and it took me weeks to get back into like a reasonable schedule going that far across the country there, and then you've got to get there and play the next day. It messes with you. It is something that makes a difference. I agree. I don't feel great about it. They could definitely drop one of these other ones here, and I think they'll be regular season juggernauts. There's too much experience, favorable schedule, replacements for what they lost in-house. They have the Michael Jordan of Christian Hackenbergs at quarterback with a running game to back it up. So book them for the college football playoff, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have 9 starters coming back on offense. I mean, none more important than the Katron Allen, Nick Singleton duo. They brought in Jim Knowles on defense. I think they're going to be better despite losing Abdul Carter, among others. They're trying to emulate Michigan and Ohio State. That's what they're trying to do. Michigan did it in 2023, bringing everybody back, going to win it. Ohio State last year. Now they're trying to do the same thing. I don't think it's going to pan out in the same way or have the same result, but they are going to be good enough to reach 11 wins and get to the Big Ten championship.
Yep, and then probably get housed by Ohio State or Michigan again, whichever one of us makes it there. And then, I don't think they're going to win it all either. Like I think as soon as you get them up against a Texas or Clemson, this thing falls apart. And look, our thoughts on James Franklin are well known and often the subject of podcasting lore at this point. So, all right, next up on the docket, bit of a change of pace after going Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. The mighty Purdue Boilermakers, 3.5 is the over-under. 3, 2, 1, under. Yeah, this is tough. Go for it, brother.
I don't feel great about it, though. I don't feel great about it. I mean, I have them getting their only 2 wins of the year and going 2-10 in the first 2 games. Ball State, Southern Illinois, and then going winless the rest of the way. But I believe in Barry Odom, man. I really believe in Barry Odom as a head coach. Where was his winning stat is my favorite. Yes, this is it. In the first 45 seasons of UNLV football, where he was previously, it enjoyed only 3 seasons with 7 or more wins. They only had 1 double-digit win season in 1984. And before he got there in 23, they had 8 straight losing seasons. In his first season, they won 9 games, and they won 11 last year for the greatest 2-season run in UNLV history. He's going to make this team better immediately. And I would not be surprised if they even got to 4 wins, catching some people off guard in the middle of the season, but with the turnover resulting in only running back Devin Mockabee returning once more. Shout out to his girlfriend or fiance, whoever he's staying there for. Maybe he just loves West Lafayette, but shout out to that. Only returner on this team. I can't go higher than 2 wins.
You nailed it. I wrote Barry Odom as an adult in the room will certainly help, but the children have already smeared shit across the walls. They've messed with the electrical. The home is in disrepair. We may need a moment to recalibrate here in West Lafayette. Your head coach is way better, but your previous head coach, who's a really good DC, is now in the division. So, it just gets even more difficult, and it's going to take Odom a year. Rebuild, reflect upon yourselves. If the ACC or the Big East comes calling, maybe you accept that. But I like their future. I just don't like it this year. I see it the exact same way, starting out with 2 wins and then not another win on the schedule. Could they get Northwestern? Absolutely. Could they get Rutgers? Wouldn't be the craziest thing ever. But I think it'll be next year where you see the Purdue leap.
Yeah, I mean, they could even get looking at the schedule. It wouldn't surprise me if they got Minnesota being that one. Wouldn't surprise me if they just snuck up on like a USC in a game and gave them some fits. I mean, keep in mind, this is a USC team that lost to Maryland last year. The same Maryland that lost 37-10 to Northwestern. So USC can fall asleep in these games, and Barry Odom would be the coach to bring back the Spoilermakers moniker in year 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun if nothing else. I've got no hatred for Purdue. They've never hurt me. They've never hurt anybody.
No, I mean, this is a program that consistently does this. They're up and then they're down, and it seems like it might be time for them to be up again sooner than later.
Yes, sir. All right, let's move to Rutgers. The over and under is set at 5.5. 3, 2, 1, over.
Over.
Ugh. Come on. All right, let's hear it.
I have them at 6-6, man.
Same. If it's the same 6, I'm leaving.
I have their 6 losses: Iowa, at Washington, Oregon, at Illinois, at Ohio State, Penn State.
The exact same.
This is a brutal schedule, man. Like,
this is
is
tough.
a terrible schedule for Rutgers this season. And I love their team. Like, that's the thing. Like, 6-6 feels like a slight. I mean, they're bringing back 10 starters. The Greek Rifle last year quietly had their best passing season since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know what that says for Rutgers or the Greek Rifle, but he was putting up numbers last year. I know they have to replace some things on offense with their offensive line, both tackles, some receivers, and Monungai, obviously. But I like what they've added through the portal. I like what they've done on defense. I buy in Shiano, but the schedule is just too daunting to go anything higher than 6-6.
I wish I had more to add. You pretty much copied my notes there. It's like, it's great you're bringing back a lot of talent. I'm not the biggest Greek Rifle guy. Like, when you're bringing back the Greek Rifle, even though he did have a pretty good year, I'd much rather have Monungai back. Not the case there. How about 28 rushing touchdowns last year for this team, plus a pretty potent passing attack, 18 through the air. They averaged 175 yards on the ground and 207 yards passing. That's a balanced offense. Not something that, like, you really think of when you think of Rutgers or Greg Schiano coach team, plus the defense, will always be stingy. It's just a schedule thing for me. I mean, you do avoid Oregon, which is great. You avoid Michigan, which helps, but Penn State, at Michigan State, at Ohio State, Nebraska, Washington, at USC to finish. I don't think I can go much higher than 6-6, but I was pretty confident going 6-6 and getting the over.
Yeah, and Shiano, man, is another coach. Like, I feel good going with the over because I think he could get a game that we're not expecting either.
Yep.
Like,
could
I
easily
just feel
see
like
that at Illinois or something. Yeah.
At Illinois feels like one where he might have circled, or even just given a team fits. Like, I mean, Rutgers has given us fits before. You look back at the 2021 game, like they can do that and like really push some of these teams to the limit. But man, I think this is the hardest schedule in the Big Ten.
I've got one that's a little harder. We'll get there. We're almost to them yet. All right, next up, UCLA, 5.5 wins. 3, 2, 1, over.
Under. Ooh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we're finally different. And look, this one was a coin flip for me. Like, I had to choose a couple teams that I wanted to buy into here, and UCLA was part of it. They went on the road and did some good things late in the season. It's kind of like, are you buying into that, what you saw late in the season? And if you are, then there's reason to believe that it carries over. Deshaun Foster started to really rally the troops late into this. I'm not a Nico guy. I'm really not, but that is quite a bit of talent. It is a talent upgrade. How much he's able to do, how much I believe in him with like middling receivers. They brought in some guys through the transfer portal, but I like the defense. I like what they're able to do there, and I am buying the defense, and I think they just get over at 6-6.
So I have them just under. So this is the team I really struggled with. I have them at 5-7 on the year. What were your losses?
Utah, Penn State, Michigan State, Ohio State, Washington, USC.
Okay, I had at Indiana. That was the only extra loss I had on the schedule.
Yeah, we talked about that one earlier where it was like a coin flip, and it just feels like there's an upset or two in here that we're not predicting, and I didn't want to go chalk.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this team does. I mean, they had that great finish, as you alluded to, but they only bring back 6 starters. And that's kind of worrisome. New OC in town since Eric Bieniemy left. We'll see what happens there. And I honestly think the defense overperformed last year because of Carson Schwessinger in the middle of the field.
He was awesome. He's a stud. Yeah. And I chose at Indiana because of what they were able to do late in the season on the road. Like, they traveled pretty well late in the season, going all the way to Rutgers and getting that. That's a tough travel situation to go to Rutgers and get that one. So overall, I think you could easily convince me of the under on this one. This one feels like a coin flip, so certainly not a lock for me. 5-7, whereas I had them initially, and then I'm like, there's something in here we're missing. There's an upset somewhere in there, and it basically came down to me thinking they're getting one of Indiana, or maybe they could find a way to get Washington or something like that. Utah, probably not to open the season. I don't know if I could see that one. Utah's a tough out, but it's possible.
It's possible. Deshaun Foster won me over last year, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think we have to stop judging coaches on their opening day press conferences because you think of some of the weirdest. You think of with Philadelphia, Nick Sirianni. You think of Dan Campbell, and you think of like Deshaun Foster for a couple, and it's like, oh, okay, they all turned out to be competent coaches. And to finish last season 4-2 down the stretch showed a lot of resilience not to lose that team.
Yeah, yep. Like I said, the wins at Rutgers and at Nebraska intrigued me. So that's what I ended up kind of riding on there. But be interesting. Finally, we're starting to differ a little bit. All right, as we go into USC, it is set at 7.5 wins, almost to the end here. Let's do it, brother. 3, 2, 1, over.
Over. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. Even though I have them at 9-3, I have them 2 games over.
I have them at 8-4. I want to read you Lincoln Riley in his first 3 seasons in the Big Ten. 11-3, 8-5, 7-6.
Mm-hmm.
Brady
Wrong
Hoke.
direction.
11-2, 8-5, 7-6.
Oh no. That's not the comp you want.
It lines up real close, man, and that's where like I don't want to buy into it. I picked them over last year and I was disappointed. It feels like this program's going in the wrong direction. Lose their OC, but I mean, we know Riley's calling the shots there, so not too big of a loss. But I don't know. Maybe it's just Lincoln Riley blindness. Like, I just keep buying into it, and there's more losses on the table. Like I mentioned, they lost to Maryland last year. They were Maryland's only conference win last year.
Oh.
Like, that's what they can do. And I don't know, man. I found myself talking myself into 8-4 somehow.
Yeah, it's 100% the Lincoln Riley effect. I'm like, he's still a good coach. Like, he has to be. There's so much talent here. I promise you, this will be the last time. If this team underperforms, and it won't be a Lincoln Riley thing, it'll be a USC thing. Something about USC, it's very difficult to win. And they've tried all manner of people after Pete Carroll. And if Lincoln Riley doesn't work out there, it is a USC thing, and I'm just going to be off this team until someone proves me otherwise. This is my last go around. I've got them at 9-3, 8-4. I messed around with the fact that they're like the travel lines up pretty well for them. Like I've got them losing at Illinois and at Notre Dame, the big travel ones, and then I've got them losing at Oregon as well. So, and then what would be you've got them losing? I don't want to spoil it.
I have them 9-3 exactly.
Oh, you too? Son of a.
Same exact schedule, dude. Like I had it mistyped. I'm looking at my doc right now. I was like, nope,
I did it too earlier. It happens.
There's only 3 ones in there, and I hate that I have it that way, like that high over as well. Like that's my highest over of any team.
It scares the hell out of me. This is not a lock for me.
Like this team could easily lose. I mean, also you kind of alluded to something there. We'll touch back on in a second.
We'll get it there. Yeah.
This team could easily lose to Nebraska,
at Nebraska, easily.
Iowa, Michigan State, like
easily.
There's a lot here to just pick apart, but I feel like we're just living in Groundhog Day. We're like leading into last season, it was like Miller Moss, Heisman candidate, Lincoln Riley's got his guy. The next one, they beat LSU and everyone was running wild, and then this team finished very middling. And I feel like the same thing might happen again this year, where everyone's running crazy with Jaden Maivia. He's got his guy. They might get a big win early, but like it would not surprise me to see this team be right flirting with 500 again.
Yeah, this one feels like one we're both prepared to be wrong on. In my prep for this, I rewatched USC, UCLA last year, and I'm like, these teams are like dead even. Like, that is not where USC should be at. Like, they should be worlds ahead of UCLA, and they just weren't. So I'm scared to death of this prediction here. But, yeah, also at 9-3. And it'll be my last one. Like I said, you get one more go-around, USC, and then I am out.
Yeah, this is it.
Yep. I'm excited for this next one. Washington, 7.5 wins. 3, 2, 1. Over. Lock it in.
Oh,
second lock. I like the feisty Washington Huskies. I'm a buyer, man. I'm buying in to Damon Williams, the very, very fun athletic quarterback who's got like a pretty good arm on him. He's accurate. He moves around in the pocket. I watched their bowl game, and like he really shined in that one. Watched a couple Washington highlight tapes there. Schedule sets up pretty nicely for him. I'm a Jed Fish guy. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie about that and pretend I haven't always been a Jed Fish guy. I like what he's done in the transfer portal there. I like the fact that they've got good weapons set up. You lose Giles Jackson, who had a big bowl game for them, by the way. They had like a really good connection there. But you have Denzel Boston. You have Landon Hatchett. You've got some guys on the offensive line. You got a guard and tackle in place. Losing some stuff on defense. Like, that's part of this where I'm like, okay, I don't know. But I've got them at 9-3. I've got this as a big Washington year, and I could be proven wrong, of course, obviously, on this one. Like, Washington, I'm just a little bit more confident with their 9-3 than I am with the USC 9-3.
I have them 8-4, so very similar. I think the thing holding me back is the offensive line. Like, I mean, this offensive line was terrible last season. They were number 121 in sacks allowed, worst in the Big Ten, and they're banking on a lot with Carver Willis coming over from Kansas State. Mm-hmm. Like, between that and I'm not as high on Damon Williams as a passer full time. Like, we'll see where that carries them.
Interesting.
But there's a lot there to like with his legs and the versatility he brings. I love Jonah Coleman, their running back. He's one of my favorite players in the country.
He stays healthy. Look out.
Yeah, I think their tight end, Decker DeGraff, is a stud. I think he's good. Pairing him with Denzel Boston, who's also elite. A lot of questions on defense. Tacario Davis comes up from Arizona, who's really good. New coordinator in town, old Ryan Walters. So
sure is.
We're gonna see if he can do it, because at Purdue it didn't look like he could coordinate or coach himself out of a brown paper
Looked
bag.
good at Illinois, though.
He looked good at Illinois, so we'll see if he can kind of get some of that magic back. Something else to watch with this team is their kicking situation for close games. Terrible last season. Grady Gross made less than 70% of his kicks, and he's back again. So if you're looking at this team to play in a bunch of one-score games, that could be something that could decide whether they're going over or under.
Yeah, I mean, I could easily see 8-4. I wanted to have some fun, and I enjoyed watching their bowl game. Like, I was like, this is extremely fun. This is great, like, very back-and-forth affair. So they won me over, and Jed Fish is there. So I've got the losses: Ohio State, at Michigan, Oregon.
State at me. Oh, okay. I have at Wisconsin.
Okay. Got you. All right. So I
thought about at Washington State, but I think that travel to Camp Randall late in the year that's going to be tricky.
Yep, I'm with you there. That takes us to Wisconsin. Last one before we do the home team here. Wisconsin set at 5.5. 3, 2, 1. Under. Lock it in.
As much as I've talked about Wisconsin and Camp Randall on this podcast, I still have them under. Like, let's not get it twisted. I have them getting 3 of their 4 early games of Miami, Middle Tennessee, and Maryland. Miami of Ohio, for full clarity. And then just late in the year, getting 2 others, just picking off Washington and Illinois as they travel to them. But struggling throughout the rest of their schedule, man. I do like what they've done in the offseason. I like them going back to a run game, bringing in Jeff Grimes, who was most recently with Kansas, and that's a run-heavy offense, so I like getting back to that identity. I don't know what the hell Fickle was thinking bringing in Phil Longo to run the air raid for so many years and then not quitting it immediately, but I like what they're doing that way. I still trust Fickle as a coach to be able to kind of get 1 or 2 of these games out, but I think he might have lost the program overall.
What did they do to my boy? They massacred my boy. What was once a team that just produced great linemen on both sides of the ball. Just not good. Like, not very good on either side there. Like, they did have, 19 rushing touchdowns, which is nothing to scoff at. Something like that last year. Yeah, 19 rushing touchdowns, which is fine. But how many did freaking Monty Ball have by himself? Didn't he have, 30?
Brother, and yes, he had 39 or something like that.
Something stupid.
And not to mention, this was the worst defensive line in the country. It was their worst run defense at Wisconsin since 2005. They were number 122 in sacks, and they were number 134 of 134 teams in TFLs.
That is unacceptable. absolutely unacceptable for a program that like used to hang their hat on that. I just hate the direction the program's going, and then you extend Fickle based on what you've seen. I don't like that. I think that this is just like poor management. I get why you're buying into Luke Fickle. He was back in the 14 playoff he made it into. Like, that's very impressive.
Cincinnati.
It was Cincinnati. I get it, but it is not translated here, and trying to bring the air raid into Wisconsin that's the dumbest thing since Schumacher put nipples on the bat suit.
No, it's the dumbest thing since Rich Rod tried to breed the zone read to Michigan. That's exactly what it's like. Yeah. And what I do like with this season, though, where I could see them having success, is they're bringing in Billy Edwards from Maryland to be quarterback, and I think his talents align precisely with what the OC wants to run there.
Yeah, I do like Billy Edwards. Tough loss for Maryland, because I was like, oh, at least they got that coming back. And then, no, not even that. But yeah, I am low on this team. I've got them at 3-9. That's why I've got them at a lock. I think they go on a heinous losing streak to end the season. Heinous. So I've got wins. There. Yeah, I've got Miami win, Middle Tennessee win, Maryland win, and then not another game.
I can't shake that Oregon game last year. Like, how does a team with that bad of a defensive line, failing to run the air raid, go 16-13 against Oregon? I know they lost, but like having that in them, I'm like, okay, can they get another win here if they fix their identity issues? It's possible, but I still have them under.
It's a tough schedule, though. Like, you don't avoid anybody. You avoid Penn State, but you draw Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois.
Yeah,
I think I said earlier, I think this is the toughest schedule in the Big Ten, because your out of conference is at Bama.
That does factor in. There's no gift there right in the middle. But I mean, yeah, man, this is a tough year, especially for Fickle looking to rebound. This is not the
schedule you want for a rebound year. Absolutely not. That was what I had written in bold. Was just like, this isn't how you rebound with like at Ohio State, or excuse me, at Michigan, Iowa, Ohio State, at Oregon, bye week, Washington, at Indiana, Illinois, at Minnesota.
That's bro. You hit the nail on the head. That might be the tiebreakers. The fact that they start off with Bama third week of the year.
Yeah,
third game of the year.
I think it's an absolutely brutal schedule. And if they get to 4 wins, I'll be like, wow, congrats.
Good season.
Good season for Wisconsin there. How the mighty have fallen. That leads us to it, brother. Save the best for last. Can't wait to see where you go with this, though. I think we've kind of, in going through this exercise, forecasted it a little bit, but we'll see where we're at here. All right, Michigan Wolverines.
I want to change so bad. We're going to talk about it.
All right, here we go. Over-under is 9.5 for the Wolverines. 3, 2, 1, over.
Over. Come on. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? It's a Michigan podcast. I got them at 6-6.
I wanted to go crazy. I wanted to go 11-1 so bad.
Oh wow!
And like, I wanted to do it so bad because I really don't believe in Lincoln Riley. But like, just out of fear this team is going to get caught. There's a tough middle of the season type schedule. Maybe there's a letdown here. I picked USC as a loss, and I picked Oklahoma as a loss.
Come on, me too. Got them at 10-2. I have Nebraska, like big asterisks next to it. I think if they're going to go 9-3, at Nebraska would be the other one, being as how it's early season. Underwood's still getting his feet underneath him. It feels more to me like a 9-3 team is what I have in my notes. Until I see this offensive line take a big step up, and you're telling me Andy Babs is a starting tackle all season long, probably going to be a learning curve there. So that to me feels more like a 9-3 team. But where are the losses? Like, this schedule sets up nicely, and Ohio State has a Michigan problem. At Oklahoma, you know, we've kind of talked about that. We'll go real deep on that as the season gets closer, for sure. Excited to talk about that. That's out of respect for a Brett Venables defense going up against a freshman quarterback. That's all that is for me.
That game's 1-10.
Yeah, it's going to be a slop fest.
Like, it's going to be like who can turn it over the least is what it's going to be like, because John Mateer comes over with his OC, Ben Arbuckle from Washington State, but he's going to gamble a lot. And he's going to do some things that could set up this defense to either score themselves, as they did last year for Michigan a lot, or just give them good field position. But conversely, freshman quarterback on the road, under the lights against Brent Venables, that's a tough ask.
in week 2. Like,
Week
play
2.
Bryce Underwood as much as you can against New Mexico because he needs every snap he can get because it takes a big jump up in competition. You would much rather have, like, the Minnesota non-conference Buffalo Northwestern State at Cal. That would be great.
Let's also keep it a buck, though. The last time we saw Oklahoma, they lost to Navy.
Yeah, no, look, I am not all the way bought in on Oklahoma. That is for sure.
Like we have to keep that factor in here. We're not predicting a blowout or anything like that. I mean, this is a team that also lost, like Oklahoma's lost a bunch of talent, a lot through the portal, and couldn't get it together last year. So, and didn't have the high note to finish on. Like, while they were losing to Navy, Michigan was beating Alabama starters with backups. With
Very
that
true.
offensive line.
I know. So these count as our official predictions for Michigan this year, right? Like, this is your official season prediction. I'm going to go with it too. If I had to, like, mix it up, I think we can beat Oklahoma. I think that is very, very doable. I've got us losing at USC, just the travel. Last year was dead close. They almost came back and won that. So I think this year they find a way to get it done. I could see us winning both of those. I could see us dropping Nebraska. I could see us dropping Washington. And then, of course, Ohio State, super talented. I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it. But until they show me they can get over that hump, I'm taking that as a win. So those are the other games that I'm looking at. Washington, luckily, at our house. And then at Nebraska. That's the one that I've got a big asterisk next to. Like, got to be careful there.
Yeah, those are ones I thought about as well. Nebraska came down to, like, do I believe in Dylan Raiola that much? Especially against Wink Martindale? I don't either. The games that really concerned me, man, were the rivalry games in this one.
Michigan State, interesting.
At Michigan. You remember how close that game was last year?
I do. I think, though, that, like, our upgrade this year at quarterback at that point in the season, and it's not like traveling to Washington for that game. Luckily, it's right down the road. I don't think it's going to be like that raucous of an environment that he's going to get, like, blindsided.
But do you think the environment at USC is going to be that raucous?
No, I do not. Travel is what I'm thinking about, and a little earlier in the season. Not by much. I mean,
2 games.
2 games, not by much, but every snap matters for Underwood early in the season, in my opinion. Like, every snap, like, Wisconsin's a big game. Like, I love that we have Central Michigan in between Oklahoma and Nebraska. Like, keep improving, young man. Like, we're going to need it. We're going to need it there. We're going to need Wisconsin to be not the best game as much as we were just shitting on Wisconsin. Like, not a fun game to be, like, learning for, as bad as their pass rush was last year. So, yeah, I'm just more looking at the struggles coming early season, and then by late season, hopefully by at Michigan State, we're starting to see Bryce Underwood, the incredible prospect, start to emerge.
Honestly, you don't even need that, though. You need him to be 2021 Cade McNamara,
Pretty
2016 Wilton Spate.
Defense
because the team is going to run the football. Yeah, the defense will carry you. I think the biggest stat of the year, we'll talk about it in our team previews, though, is if Michigan is top 5 in turnover margin, they're going to be one of the best teams in the country.
Oh, I have this team as a top 3 defense. I have it as a top 3 run defense. I think that they're going to get after the quarterback. I think they'll be up there in sacks, TFLs, takeaways. I think I'm just really starting to buy more into the Hill-Berry combination along with those safeties. Like, the closer Rod Moore gets back to 100%, I'm even more in on that. And then it's just the offensive line is, like, my only holdup. Like, if we were coming back with, like, a Zinter in there, or like you told me, for like, if El Hadi finished the season looking awesome, like, how much better would you feel?
Well, you don't give any stock to the Alabama game?
I do. No, I do for sure. And, like, I think that there was a lot there to lean on, and I rewatched ReliaQuest for this prep work for Michigan because, you know, why not? And yeah, no, I was solely focused on the offensive line, and there was a lot to like there. So that's a fair rebuttal.
Yeah, I mean, like, and they got it done still with over 100 yards with no passing attack.
Against their starters, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Post Davis Warren going out, because credit where credit was due. Sadly, he was having his best game of his career.
I know it was, yeah. Yeah, man. This was a fun exercise. Let's go back through everyone real quick. Illinois, 8.5. I went over. You went under. Indiana, 8.5. I went under. You went over.
Yep.
Iowa, 7.5. We both went over?
Yep.
Maryland 4.5. Both went under pretty confidently. Yeah.
I locked that one in. Yeah.
Locked that one in there. You could almost lock it in for me too if you wanted. Michigan at 9.5. We both just went over at 10-2. Same losses, unsurprisingly, when we covered this team for 7 years together. Michigan State 5.5. Both went over at 6-6 with the same wins, I think.
Yep, same wins, and the official mid bowl, Michigan State at Minnesota.
I'm cool with that mid bowl. I have no pushback. Yep. Minnesota 6.5, 6-6 under. Both of us.
Both of us.
Nebraska 7.5. I went 7-5 under. You went 8-4 over. Correct.
Correct.
Northwestern 3.5. I went 4-8 just over.
Yep, I went 4-8 as well, and I locked it.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, we both had that one. Ohio State 10.5. I had them at 10-2 under. That's one of my locks. You also had them at 10-2. Oregon 10.5, 10-2 as well. Under near lock for me. I was close. Maybe I'll just lock it in. To hell with it. What are we doing here? It's a podcast. Lock it in. Penn State 10.5, 11-1. Both of us over. Purdue 3.5. I got them at 2-10 and under. You went
same
over. Okay, you went.
No,
okay, you
went.
Went
I went under, but I was like talking about how this could be. Yeah, this could be a wild card team.
Got you. Okay. Rutgers at 5.5. I think we both had them at 6-6 over.
Yep.
All right. UCLA 5.5. I got 6-6 over. You've got 5-7 under, right?
Yep.
Okay. USC 7.5. Both went 9-3 over. This one I think scares us both the most. Hate
so
it.
Volatile.
So volatile. Washington 7.5. I went 9-3 over. You went 8-4 over. I locked it in just because I'm trying to have some fun. Wisconsin 5.5. I went 3 and under. Definitely locking that one in.
Yeah, and I had him 5-7 just under.
5-7 under. I got him 3-9 under. Hell yeah, brother. Any big picture takeaways?
Rich middle class, man.
Yeah.
Rich middle class. I mean, there's a lot of teams in here. Like I said, like Michigan State being at 6-6, I feel like could be a team that could give a lot of people fits and like to be in contention to get 8 wins. And like same thing with like Nebraska. I have them at 8-4, but like a few games here and there, and they're quickly fighting for bowl eligibility again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the middle class, which kind of includes Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Nebraska. Michigan could be in that middle class if, like, they drop Nebraska. All of a sudden, you're kind of demoted to the middle class. Yeah. So we're right on the fringes there, and then it kind of drops off to a true middle tier of guys that'll be like bowl eligible and not much more. Your Minnesotas, Michigan States, and then the dregs: Maryland, Northwestern, and Purdue.
Yeah. I like how there's like clear divisions like separating this thing. You can kind of see how it plays out. And by our schedules, it would be Michigan, Penn State in the Big Ten championship.
My goodness. Yes, it would. And then we like Michigan against Franklin. So we're saying, based on what we just laid out, Michigan's going to the playoffs.
Even if they just reach the Big Ten championship, they're going to the playoffs.
They're going to the playoffs. Yeah. If you beat Ohio State to end the year, you're sneaking in there. You're finding a way.
Yeah. At 10-2, and I feel like once again the Big Ten will be represented by 4 teams. In our over-unders, it would be Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Penn State. Not surprising. We're just replacing Indiana from last season.
Yep. Yeah, no, this was great, man. I feel ready. I feel ready for the season after doing this exercise. Definitely come out of this just like feeling a lot better about what each team is bringing. Like I said, I really like what we have at the quarterback position. Of course, across the league, defenses will still rule the day. You lose some really talented running backs, so we'll see like who emerges amongst running backs. There is a lot of talent turnover. Not a ton of coaching turnover compared to some other years, like kind of running it back. Truth be told, like some more coordinator changes than overall coaching changes, but it'll be a fun year in the Big Ten. Michigan's set up to make some noise, man. They absolutely should consider themselves a playoff contender.
Games of the year?
Obviously the game is always going to be right up there. I would say within the Big Ten, so removing Michigan, Oklahoma, and Ohio State, Texas, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Removing those, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon at Penn State. How about week 4, Illinois at Indiana? Love that.
I like Ohio State at Illinois. as well. When we had Zach on a few weeks ago, he was marking that down as a loss for them.
I thought he was also scared about Washington, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He was like nervous about
at
that.
Washington, and those are both teams
tricky.
that have a good track record at home. So like, very good games in the middle of the schedule. Man, I feel like these games weren't there. Maybe a lot of teams weren't like in that middle class yet, but I think having that this year makes a lot of the schedule very enticing.
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to think who else here is on week 4. Week 4 is going to Purdue at Notre Dame and Rutgers, Iowa. But there's some other, Michigan at Nebraska is good. Illinois at Indiana, week 4 is good. But then the week like 5 through 8, 5 through 9 is juicy across the board.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to pick UCLA over USC. That's one of the games I really hesitated on as well in this exercise.
I honestly kind of like that more than what I did pick, which was UCLA beating Indiana. I kind of like UCLA over USC a little bit more. Less travel implications.
Literally, you're just driving down the street for that game.
Right, exactly. Yeah, dramatically less travel implications. So this was fun, man. We got some beers bet on this one. You got me last year, but it was tight. I imagine it'll be close again this year.
Yeah, I got you. I went 500 and you were a team away. So
yeah,
came down to the wire.
Yep, absolutely, man. This was super fun. Thank you, producer Tony. This will be out on YouTube. This will be out on podcast. We've got the Instagram stuff going up. He's been doing an awesome job with that. So check us out on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. It's either Out of the Blue Sports or OOTB Sports. You can find us. Big promotions coming up right before the season ends. We're going to put some real skin in the game. We're not quite ready to announce that yet, but that'll be a big one. Definitely a lot bigger than the T-shirts we were giving away last time. So once that's out, you will certainly know about it. Anything else from you before we get out of here, brother?
What is it, like 32, 33 days till football season, till Michigan now?
We are right in the Lord's warm embrace. He holds us close to his chest and breastfeeds us back to health.
There's that. Let's go.
It's been great. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. I'm Jared. That's Andy. This is Out of the Blue. We'd like to remind you that wherever you go, go blue.